Hi, I'm John Page, and I'm here at the Music Zoo in Roslyn, New York. And I'm here to talk a little bit about my new classic series of guitars. I'm really proud of these instruments, and I just want to tell you, some of the features of them, tell you a little bit about, why the classic series came about in the first place. I've been building guitars for a long time, 40 some odd years, many years at Fender Guitars and the Fender Custom Shop, and started my custom guitar line about 10 years ago or so. And through all those many years of developing guitars and creating new designs, a lot of little perks and secrets came out, things you learn along the road. And the idea of the Classic series was to bring a lot of those little nuance additions that are normally only found in custom guitars and add them to a production model. And so a couple years ago, my good friend and founder of John Page Classic approached me, Howard Swimmer, and we teamed up to create this new line. And so it takes 40 some odd years of my guitar building experience, design and building, and which I'm still building custom guitars of my own as well. But instead of only making 12 or 15 guitars a year like I do with my own hands, this takes my hands and spirit and puts it into a lot more guitars and makes them a lot more attainable for people, which I think is really important. So what led me to guitar building and design in the first place, in all honesty, is I was a kid from, a classic lower middle class family with a single income, didn't have a lot of money, and I had a passion and a desire to be a musician. And the only guitar I had was a $10 acoustic that my dad had bought in Tijuana. And I wanted something more and hipper and cooler, and so I started tearing guitars apart at about 13. And built my first guitar actually at 15, and then went from there. That passion of wanting to design and build, what's interesting to me now is that it came from a strictly economic point of view when I was a kid. As I became more and more skilled as a builder, it seems like the custom guitars I built and the guitars, the companies I worked for, they kept getting higher and higher in price. And a lot of the idea of the classics to me is to bring those back down now and to bring them into more affordable pricing. So some of the features of the Classics series, they're really only things that you would normally find in a custom guitar, just because they're, lots of times when you're in a manufacturer, you design for the masses, and when you're a custom builder, you tend to build for individual builders, or you tend to build for professional players, individual players, professional players. So you start to see, similar desires from these people, what they're looking for, and then what those, the tones that those things produce. And so all the classic models that we have now, which is the Ashburn HH, and the AJ, they have similar features. And just to hit you up with those, the first, all three share a common neck design. It's a medium C neck. It's a 1.69-inch nut, so kind of a wider nut. It's the medium C shape is about 820 at the first, 870 at the 12th, so it's kind of a beefy, wide, flat-ish neck. 12-inch radius on the fretboard, kind of a medium jumbo fret. That mass is integral to tie in the tone that's produced in this instrument. It's integral to tie to the body properly, that mass. So every Classic has this style of neck. They all also have alder body. I like alder bodies because I believe that alder has a really nice tone production all across the tonal spectrum. So there's no, like ash will have a dip in the mids, other woods might have a peak in the mids, or a loss of highs, loss of bass. Alder has a real nice even spectrum. I want that. I want to be able to produce as much of the tonal spectrum acoustically as I can in the instrument. The third thing that's that it is consistent with all of the guitars is this neck mounting system. These are not wood screws, which is what most people expect to see when they see a bolt-on neck. It's a wood screw with a washer or a neck plate. These are actually oversized machine screws that go into metal inserts that are in the neck. That coupling of that oversized machine screw going into the metal insert of the neck improves the tonal coupling neck to body, which even further ties in the importance of this neck mass and the body material. So those are three key features that are on all the instruments. Now, this is the Ashburn. This is the first model we released last year. Other than those key features, there's the other aesthetic feature for me is the base justified top dots. Not just aesthetic because I like the way it looks. I like things to be a little off. But also that when you're playing, it's actually closer to your playing side and it's easier to see. So that actually aids in visibility. The other key thing on the Ashburn is the reverse angle on the bridge pickup. This is to bring in more more thickness and girth basically on the high strings and tightens up the low end on the low strings. A simple volume, master tone. Very sensitive tone control, so you're able to get a lot of different variations with just slight movement of the tone control. 5-position switch, a vintage style 6-point tremolo system, and the other thing that's very important are the staggered keys. This alleviates 99.9% of the time the need for any kind of a string tree, string tree, and that aids in the tuning stability of the guitar. I like it, so I did it that way. This is the Ashburn HH. Went a little more custom feature-wise, I guess. You know, with this one, a little more splashy. I love Mother Toilet Seat, we used to call it in the old Fender Custom Shop days. It's the Pearloid. So I do love that pick guard. It's a double humbucking, master volume, master tone control, 3-position switch. There are no splitters on this. To me, if you get a really good sound out of a pickup, don't split it because the sound won't be as good. I like simple. Again, the sensitive tone control allows you to get so much of a variety out of these pickups. To me, there's no need for it. This is slightly different as far as the bridge and keys are concerned in that this is a 2-point system tremolo, so it's a little more it's expected to be a little more radical playing usually with this style of instrument. So this allows a little more aggressive style of play with the tremolo. And also in addition to the keys being staggered, they're also locking. So you have locking, staggered tuning posts with a 2-post system. Allows you really great tuning return, pitch return when you're playing the tremolo. And this is our newest model, the AJ. And the AJ is my homage to the Telecaster, which was always the guitar I played with when I was in bands. I love the simplicity of the model. I love the almost the blockiness of it. There were several things I didn't like about it. One of the things I did not like about the original Tele was the ice pick highs that would come out of that bridge pickup. So on the AJ, what I've done is I've reversed the angle on this, just like I did on the Ashburn. So you get much more girth to the upper register strings and the high end, and it tightens up the bottom end. So it gets rid of that ice pickness that I always hated. I also hated the inability to properly intonate a 3-saddle bridge, but I love the tone of the brass and the steel. So these are compensated to aid in intonation. Also, I wanted a thicker rhythm pickup sound. So I wanted to go with a P90, but P90s were always too muddy and thick to me. So the voicing in the P90 was such to where it just gives you a nice, thick, single coil tone, but not with all the muddiness that's normally associated with it. Master volume, master tone, 3-position toggle switch. And I did contour the bodies on this. I wanted it to be a little more comfortable than the full slab body, a little sexier. And that's the AJ, and I love it to death. And I hope you get a chance to check it out. First off, I have to back it up a little bit and explain what I've explained earlier about the guitars, the construction, my theory of it, the neck mass, the body material, even the mechanical coupling of neck to body. How important that is because this is an acoustic instrument first. And as such, that makes what you get out of this, the voice is being produced by this instrument. These pickups are microphones. And you can color microphones, you can have really good microphones or really cruddy microphones. But what I tried to do was voice these pickups to where they would capture what I designed in the instrument in the best possible way, to replicate that as accurately as possible. In addition to that, I love the sound of, say, a mid-60s Strat, 64ish or something like that. Love the tone out of those pickups. But I wanted to have clarity, a little more clarity, but a little more punch. And so that's what the Bloodline ones are. They've got a real nice, like mid-60s Strat style sound, but with really nice clarity, not too hot. I've overwound the lead pickup a little bit, give a little more punch there, and reverse wound, reverse polarity on the middle pickup. So you get humbucking in positions 2 and 4. So you get rid of all your single coil noise in those two positions. You still have single coil positions in 1, 3, and 5, but with the entire cavity being shielded, the pickguard being shielded, the noise that's normally associated with a single coil pickup is cut way down. So that's the Bloodline 1 pickups. These are my Bloodline JP2 pickups, the humbuckers. I've always loved the tone of a really nice 50s PAF, just the classic tone of that. But I had a couple issues with it. The metal cover, as much as I love the lines and I love the look of it, it'd load the pickup. It'd take out some of that high end, which I wanted to hear. But at the same time, it was a little too thick and muddy for me. I wanted more of an articulate sound coming out of it. So with messing with the winds and the type of wire we used and the patterns we did and the winding patterns, we were able to get the voicing of this exactly what I heard in my head, which is a very articulate sounding humbucker. I call it an adult humbucker. And you can still get plenty of power out of it. You turn up the drive on your amp, you're still going to get all the distortion you want. But it's not a metal pickup, it's an adult pickup. You can have great jazz sounds out of it and everything else. And they're just a really lovely humbucking pickup. And that's the Bloodline JP2s. These are my JP3 pickups. This is the JP3 Telly and the JP3 P90 pickup. The Telly pickup, for a guy who really hates ice pick highs, I still really like the tone of a Telly pickup, and that's why I reverse this angle. But this pickup is basically just done like a real nice classic 50s Telly tone. Alnico 5, really nice sounding pickup. The P90, probably out of all the pickups in the classic line, is one of the pickups that I hated the original tone, not of the JP3, but of a P90. I loved what it was trying to do, but I always felt it was way, way, way too muddy. So by underwinding this and playing with wind patterns and everything else, we've been able to voice this into a very articulate P90. So it still has a lot of the depth and the tonal character of a P90, but without that muddiness. And that's the JP3s. I really want to thank the Music Zoo for opening the doors of their lovely facility for me today and having the opportunity to sit there and talk to you, talk about my guitars, and go Zoo. It's a great place to be. Thanks. Have a great day.